Okay, let's talk about analogies. So an analogy is a type of writing that people will do. A writer might choose to write an analogy, and they might put it in a story form. So if you might see an analogy, it's figurative language, it's similar to metaphor, but you might see it as a story. Like if you've ever read Animal Farm, that's an analogy. If you've read some fairy tales or fables, sometimes those are also analogies, like the story of the grasshopper and the ant. That grasshopper is playing his fiddle all day, enjoying the sunshine, and the ants are working to store food for the winter. And they're like, hey, what are you doing? And the grasshopper's like, I'm having a great time. What are you doing? And then when the snow comes, the grasshopper's like, cold and gonna die. And then depending on who's writing it, in some versions the grasshopper dies because the lesson is you didn't save up, you didn't store and prepare for the hard times, so you were caught off guard. A kinder author might write that the ants welcomed the grasshopper in and shared their food and shelter. But those types of stories are meant to like teach the reader, and they're often called fables or moralistic stories as well. So those analogies are supposed to compare like the characters of the story to your own life or to something that has actually happened. For instance, I might tell you a story about a man who overcome many obstacles in order to achieve his dream of climbing Mount Everest. And I can compare that to your efforts making up a pile of missing assignments in order to earn a passing grade in class. That type of a story and that comparison is where the analogy comes in. Okay, so that's one type of analogy. There's another analogy that is shorter. And this is the example and what we're going to be practicing and focusing on a bit more right now. So analogies can also be presented as a short word puzzle. And solving this type of word puzzle helps build critical thinking skills. This is something that is, you're looking for a pattern, you're looking for a relationship, and it might not click the first few that you do, but it's one of those things that you really get better at it the more that you practice. It's a skill, and then you become better at picking up on patterns, and you increase your critical thinking skills. Okay, so in this type of analogy, we have two pairs of words. And so small is to large, as little is to blank. And your job as the puzzle solver is to fill in that blank. So what we want to do is we want to figure out what is the relationship between that first pair of words. Small is to large. Well, those are opposites. So that means little is going to be to something else that's opposite of. So my question to you is, what is the opposite of little? Go ahead, drop it in the chat. What is a word that means the opposite of little? There's one. I see one. So if small is to large, that means they're the opposite. Little is to something else. So what's the opposite of little? The opposite of little would be big. You could say gargantuan or huge or something like that. That would work. So to solve the analogy, the puzzle solver has to determine how the first two words are related and then choose a word to fill in the blank so that the relationships match between the pairs of words. So small is to large, these are opposites, little is to big. The blank has to be filled in with another opposite. Let's try this one. Okay, so I'm giving you an analogy. You have to think about what is being compared. How are the words related? So fish is to salmon as dog is to blank. So what should we put in this blank? Okay, hello to some people who just joined us. Hi, Haley. Hi, Maya. Hi, Belinda. Hi, Cassandra. So these two words are similar, what's the relationship? So fish is a type of animal. Salmon is more specifically a type of fish. So dog is a type of animal. So the blank would be a specific breed of dog. So in the chat, drop it in. What is the name of a specific breed of a dog?